Tonight, a drowning at a popular swimming spot.
They were able to pull a 24-year-old male from Mississauga out of the water.
Neighbors react to the death.
I went by yesterday driving, and the fire rescue truck was out there with the lights going.
Plus, the future of esports takes center stage in Kitchener.
This is the biggest event we've ever had.
The Call of Duty Championship happening here.
The arena's been incredibly flexible from letting us bring in all this kind of equipment and rigging, lighting, sound. It's been amazing.
For the first time outside of the United States. And a moving donation.
He said, "Dad, I'd like to sell this calf and use that money to help some other programs."
How a contest win is helping to spread joy to kids with autism and special needs. Good evening. A man has died drowning at an Elora Quarry at a popular swimming spot in the summer. Police say it happened last night, and now water safety advocates are urging people to be extra cautious, especially when swimming in natural bodies of water. CTV's Heather Senerin has been following the story for us and joins us now. Heather, the Elora Quarry just opened for the season recently.
According to the Grand River Conservation Authority's website, the Elora Quarry season just started about 2 weeks ago, Ashley, and there is a large beach area there where visitors can swim, but the beach is not patrolled.
The Elora Quarry is closed for the day after a tragic incident. OPP say first responders got a call about a man in distress at the quarry around 6:30 Tuesday night.
They were able to pull a 24-year-old male from Mississauga out of the water. He was subsequently transported to the hospital, and I'm sad to say he was pronounced deceased by the attending physicians.
Police admit it's news no one wants to hear.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank all the Good Samaritans and all of the emergency services that attended there. And I just wanted to say how deeply sorry we are to this man's family, and that they are in our thoughts and they have our sincerest and deepest condolences.
Those who live nearby say they could see the commotion but didn't know what happened.
I went by yesterday driving, and the fire rescue truck was out there with the lights going, and you sit there and say, wow, something's wrong.
So most drownings in Ontario do happen in natural bodies of water.
The Life Saving Society of Ontario says natural bodies of water are unpredictable, which means they can be dangerous.
Water levels can change. There can be things like rocks, drop-offs, sandbanks, all kinds of things that you might not notice at first that you can't see from the shore.
The Grand River Conservation Authority did not comment on the incident specifically, besides saying reservations would be refunded since the quarry is closed, but did say visitors must make sure safety is their top priority and their beaches are not patrolled.
If you do choose to swim somewhere where there are not lifeguards, take some safety precautions, wear a life jacket, make sure you're not swimming alone. You always want to be with others.
The GRCA also reminding the public that river flows can change quickly and without warning.
The Life Saving Society and OPP urge people to wear a life jacket, especially when out swimming in natural bodies of water, just to be safe. OPP could not confirm if the man who died was wearing one or not. Ashley.
A tragic start to summer indeed. Okay, thank you, Heather Senerin, for bringing us that tonight. Well, it's our first check on weather now with Alex Pinto. Alex, it was a little bit cooler, a little bit wetter today.
Yeah, so definitely not seeing that heat and humidity, or extreme heat and humidity from yesterday, but it was still quite warm out there. Before we get into what we're seeing now, I do want to take you to London, where a graduation ceremony abruptly ended. This took place last evening when lightning struck a school's chimney. Take a look. Yeah, quite the sight to see. A startling moment for those at that ceremony. Good news, no one was hurt. The building, though, did have some damage. The graduation did reconvene at another school, so yeah, quite some incredible footage there that we had to show you from last evening. So depending where you are, potentially could have seen a little bit of active weather from last night. But here in Kitchener-Waterloo, this hour, mainly just seeing a bit of cloud cover with a little bit of that sunshine poking through the clouds. Not too bad, but can't say we're not going to see some wet weather on the way. We'll get into that a little bit later in the hour. Currently, we're sitting at 28 degrees. If you are by the water, so Goderich, for example, 19 degrees, so a bit cooler out there. But as noted, might not feel like we're in the 40s, but still feeling a bit of that heat, a bit of that humidity. So here in Kitchener-Waterloo, feeling closer to 45, 34 in London, and 37 in Toronto. So still a very warm summer-like day, but nice to get a little bit of a break from that heat. And of course, we're going to break down what we can see for the rest of the week ahead of the long weekend. Dash.
Oh, looking forward. And I know a lot of people want to know what they can see this weekend.
For sure.
Okay, well, thank you, Alex. All right, one person was rushed to hospital after a crash in Kitchener. It happened at the intersection of Victoria and Lancaster around noon today. Police say one person was left with serious injuries. Witnesses tell us a red SUV slammed into a back of a pickup truck. They say after the crash, a nearby business owner and employees jumped in to help the injured driver.
Harris next door from H class was like trying to open the door. The guy was passed out. So luckily, ambulance and fire trucks came soon. They broke the window, got the guy out, got him out of here within like 10 minutes, but yeah.
No word yet if charges are expected and no update on the condition of the driver. While still on the roads, a car carrier flipped into a ditch near Woodstock this morning. The transport was pulling a trailer loaded with vehicles when it rolled off the 403 just east of the 401. Police say traffic was moving slowly because of lane closures. The transport driver suffered minor injuries. All lanes reopened by 3 p.m. Meanwhile, a section of Highway 402 closed because of heat damage has now reopened. This was the damage in the westbound lanes of the highway on Sunday. Traffic on the 402 West had to detour at oil heritage work while Ministry of Transportation crews repaired the damage. The highway reopened this morning. A popular restaurant in Stratford has been reunited with its stolen food truck. CTV's Karis Mapp has more on the dramatic recovery and what the future holds for the establishment.
Back where it belongs. Staff at Annie's Seafood Restaurant in Stratford are recovering from having their food truck stolen.
Friday night, truck was all loaded up, got all the food ready for the weekend, plugged in to keep all the freezers cold and so forth. Saturday morning, we came in 9 a.m., pulled into the parking lot, and I said to my husband, where's our food truck?
A loss for Annie's and also for Stratford Live, where they were supposed to be a vendor. Being the only gluten-free certified food truck in Canada, the festival's organizers say they felt Annie's absence. In a statement sent to CTV News, Stratford Live's committee say they were genuinely excited for what the restaurant would bring and are hoping for a swift recovery. But not long after, someone noticed the familiar logo just outside of town.
The really miraculous thing that happened was the phone rang and someone said, "Are you missing your food truck?" And I'm like, "Yes, do you have it?"
All caught on camera, suspects can be seen driving a pickup truck onto the property and leaving with Annie's truck.
The door lock itself was smashed off the vehicle. The actual steering column busted apart. You know, that's how they were able to hotwire it and get it running.
$1,000 worth of food that was left out to rot. There was supplies taken, probably $500 worth of poutine boxes and napkins and all of that kind of stuff.
The hunt for the thieves coming to a close quickly. Stratford police say they were called to this lot on Griffith Road Sunday morning about a theft in progress, with the truck description matching the same as the suspects in the Annie's investigation. Police say when they arrived, there was a struggle.
Police were able to utilize their cruisers to block the pickup truck, which was now carrying a stolen trailer. That driver of the pickup truck drove into the police cars. He was eventually able to be arrested after assaulting one of the officers.
As for Annie's, they're looking ahead to this weekend's festivities and grateful to have their truck in tow.
We're doing an original kitchen party, live music. So we've got a big tent outside that we have for our patio, so our patio's covered. That'll be there.
The community also doing what they can to give back.
They do a lot for the community, and we're just trying to do our part to get them up and running for the weekend here.
Karis Mapp, CTV News, Stratford.
A reminder to start your day in the know with your CTV News Kitchener newsletter. Get the best local content from CTV News straight to your inbox. We've got today's top stories, the latest weather forecast, and must-see videos. It's all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewskitchener.ca. Well, a year without a cell phone in the classroom. Coming up, Scott Lightfoot talks to high school students who went without their mobile device this year after a ban took effect last September.
I'm Jeff Pickle. It's a beautiful bridge, but it's costly. Tonight, the region votes whether or not to rebuild the historic Kissing Bridge despite the budget ballooning. That story is just ahead.
A bit of a break from that extreme heat we saw over the last couple of days. Still a nice warm summer day. Some active weather expected to roll in ahead of your long weekend. I'll have your details in the full forecast coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
The fate of the West Montrose Kissing Bridge could be decided tonight. Regional Council is set to vote on the landmark's long-awaited reconstruction, but the costs have ballooned since the budget was set last year. CTV's Jeff Pickle is with us now. And Jeff, how much more money are we looking at here?
Well, Ashley, in the 2025 budget, they set aside $6 million and change to reconstruct a covered bridge. But now, after going through the contract tendering process, they are going to need roughly $4 million more to get it done. The covered bridge in West Montrose, also known as the Kissing Bridge, is the last remaining covered bridge in Ontario. Built in 1881, it holds heritage significance and is a tourist destination within the region. The region says the reason the cost jumped is because it's difficult to estimate how much some of the specialized and heritage work would cost, and it turned out to be much more than expected. Again, looking at those numbers, the region budgeted over $6 million for the project, but after finding that contractor, the price is now over $10 million, and that is an increase of over $4 million. And staff is recommending council go ahead with the project. Council is expected to vote tonight, and the meeting is happening right now. Ashley.
Okay, Jeff Pickle with that update tonight. Thank you, Jeff. We're hearing from high school students today about the impact of the first full year of a ban of cell phones in classrooms. The ban took effect in September, and if you have a teen, you might be surprised by the end of school year comments on the ban. CTV's Scott Lightfoot reports.
It is the last day of school at Humberside Collegiate Institute, and as students sign yearbooks before starting their summer, they're reflecting on their first year without having their cell phones in the classroom.
It was definitely a change because since grade 9 we've been using our phones a lot for school, even when we're not supposed to.
Starting last September, students across the province were prohibited from using their phones during class time. Inside this school, there is signage with clear direction, holders for phones in some of the classrooms, and locked charging stations in the hallway, an effort to keep the kids' attention on the subject being taught.
For the first few months, it was pretty difficult adjusting to it, but then I got pretty adjusted to it, and I actually really enjoy it now.
I mean, in all honesty, we all rely on our phones, so I guess it was a pretty big change at the beginning, but I kind of got adjusted to it, and now I don't even think about reaching for my phone during classes. I'm kind of used to it.
Well, we knew it was a culture shift for everyone.
Claudine Terrell is the school's principal. She says staff noticed students were more focused during class. She also says they noticed a behavioral shift because the new rules also blocked sites like Snapchat, TikTok, and Instagram from school Wi-Fi.
We saw definitely a decrease in incidences that apply to social media. So last year we had a lot of online cyberbullying. We had a lot of incidences where people were putting things on social media that were inappropriate, and that was reduced drastically this year.
High school students can still access their phones during breaks and outside of class time, and if they use their own data, they can still access social media. But some students say they feel the restrictions change their school experience for the better.
Social media is a huge part of our lives, and teenagers especially. So knowing that we kind of have to take a step away from that, I also think it's important for students to kind of interact in person, not only on social media. So I do think it's beneficial.
When the students return in the fall, the rules will remain in place. But as for whether they will spend less time on their phones this summer, having seen that it's possible.
Honestly, no. I would like to say yes, but it's a no.
Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
All right, we're taking a live look from Preston in Cambridge tonight. It is a beautiful summer evening. A little bit of wet weather on the way, as Alex mentioned, but certainly tonight, if you want to get out and take the dog out for a little stroll or just yourself, it's a lot more comfortable to do so. Alex, of course, will have more on how much heat and wet weather is coming up in our forecast a little later in the show. Still ahead on CTV News, Prime Minister Mark Carney committing to invest in defense at the NATO gathering in Brussels. How much? Those details still ahead. Also ahead, Mike Walker speaks with a hockey player who touched down in Toronto after being stranded in Israel as the conflict with Iran intensified.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
All right, welcome back. Alex is, of course, here for our full weather forecast. Now, Alex, we've got to talk about the wet weather and the long weekend, because I know everybody is happy, I'm sure, that the humidity and the heat is starting to cut. And, of course, with all that heat and humidity, we need a bit of wet weather to balance things out. But will it be here for the weekend?
So at this point, especially on Wednesday, to look ahead, at least for a portion of it, it could be. So there could be a chance for a little bit of wet weather. But when we look at tomorrow and Friday, hopefully we'll get kind of a bit more of an accurate reading on that. But at this point, in terms of wet weather, tomorrow, you may want to keep an umbrella or 2 or 3, maybe even 4 with you. And even this morning, I noticed on the dog walk around 7 o'clock or so, as we were finishing our walk, a couple of little raindrops, but then nothing. So I think it depends where you were. You may have actually seen a couple scattered showers early this morning, but right now, as we have a live look from Preston, we're just seeing a bit of cloud cover. That's pretty much the story right around Waterloo region this hour as well. Still warm, and that humidity, yes, is still with us, but definitely not seeing that humidity in where it feels closer to the 40s, which was what we saw when we were dealing with that extreme heat and those heat warnings in place. So overall, a pretty nice summer evening. So if you do have plans to get outside, maybe hit a patio tonight, not a bad idea, because as we look to tomorrow, that's when we could see conditions change a little bit. So yes, getting into the overnight hours for tonight and the rest of the evening as well. Not too bad, but take a look at this. Around 7 o'clock Thursday morning, I just want to stop it here, where we could see quite a bit of active weather making its way. So Mount Forest could see rain heavy at times as well. And then by 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon for your Thursday, we could see another round of showers. Wyerton, you could also see maybe a risk of a thunderstorm or 2 as we get into the afternoon hours, and then overnight as we're getting into Friday, 6 a.m. or so, we could see a little bit more active weather roll in. So yeah, between Thursday and Friday, yeah, we could see a little bit, maybe more wet weather, but if we're going to see more wet weather, I'd rather see it before we get into the long weekend. We'll get into that in just a moment. So right now sitting at 29 degrees here in Kitchener-Waterloo, 25 in London, 30 in Toronto, so quite warm there. If you are by the water though, Goderich, 19 degrees right now, but with that humidity, it's not feeling a little bit hotter. Again, not quite the 40s, but still feeling like 36 here in Kitchener-Waterloo. So still, you can feel that humidity when you step outside. Goderich quite comfortable, sitting at 24 and 29 in Mount Forest this hour. Expected high 29 degrees, so the normal for this time is about 25 or so. Record-setting temperature was 36.1. That was set in 1988, and the record low 3.8 in 1979. That sun also setting past 9 o'clock now. So if you do have plans, again, maybe to hit a patio, you can at least have a bit of an extended evening out there. So overnight, 40% chance of showers as we drop down to about 18 degrees or so. And then tomorrow, expected high 21 with a 60% chance of showers. So again, keep the umbrella, keep those rain boots nearby, because you likely will need it. Here's a look at your next 7-day forecast at this point. So that wet weather expected to stick with us right until about Saturday or so. But then Sunday, take a look at that sunshine. Not too bad when it comes to at least enjoying that part of the long weekend at this point. And then for Lambton, Kenton, Essex, similar in terms of a chance for some showers. You could tomorrow see a risk of a thunderstorm and quite warm, so 30 degrees or so. But Sunday, Again, 30 and sunny, so if you do have outdoor plans, maybe hit a beach, that is going to be the day at this point to do it. And then for southern Georgian Bay, again, some wet weather could be on the way over the next several days before we welcome that sunshine. So at this point, I really want to see what tomorrow and what Friday says in terms of the long weekend, but we could see a little bit of both, but at this point, we're just seeing about a 30% chance when we look at showers. So if we're going to see it, I'd rather see heavier showers tomorrow and not for the long weekend. But again, we'll stay tuned.
A good warning there.
So we'll see what happens. All right, here is tonight's Weather Watcher picture. This one's sent to us by Marion, who says, in this weather, gardening is not a spot for the faint of heart. Weeding at 5:30 in the morning to beat the heat. A beautiful shot of the sunrise as well. Yeah, many of us were doing what we could early and later in the day just to get a break from that extreme heat because, yeah, we definitely needed it. And even this morning, when you could step out the door, you could feel the difference, which was great.
Absolutely. And I love that. What I love about that shot is, you know, as you keep mentioning, the sun is rising earlier and earlier. So at least Marin can get out and get that weeding done nice and early.
Get the weeding done. And then when you get it done, you can enjoy the rest of your day, too.
Exactly.
Okay, so a note, you could win big while supporting your local hospital. So Guelph General Hospital is one of 78 hospitals participating in the Split the Pot lottery. This month's jackpot, $750,000. I had a chance to go to the hospital and learn that patient beds are one of their most needed items. Take a look.
Ideally, at the end of 5 years, my goal is to have every patient be able to be placed on an air mattress. This year alone, we were able to purchase 36 new beds for the hospital. Wow. All of them are the Centrala Max 355 smart bed, which is the bed that we have here. And my goal for the next 5 years is to continue buying 20 beds per year to get us to that goal.
Emily was telling me that one of the features of these beds, which is pretty cool, is an exit alarm. We also had a chance while we were there to check out some of the work being done to update and modernize the emergency department. There's quite a bit of construction taking place there, ongoing too, which will be for quite some time. But every ticket purchased, that money is going back to support patient care equipment directly. So a bit of a win-win, if you will. You can check out the full segment online at ctvnewskitchener.ca. And there is still time to get tickets. The deadline is midnight tonight, and the draw is taking place tomorrow. So splitthepot.ca is where you can get tickets. And again, really nice to give back and actually see where your money is going to when it comes to funding, you know, local hospital initiatives and that equipment and so on. So.
Absolutely. I know I got my ticket, so fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Maybe it'll be good news, and we'll report back that you're the big winner tomorrow.
Oh, man, wouldn't that be serendipitous in a way?
We'd love that.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Ontario's ombudsman is exposing poor treatment of prisoners at Maplehurst Provincial Jail in Milton. The provincial watchdog says the mistreatment was serious enough to warrant, in some cases, inmate sentences being reduced or stayed. CTV's Siobhan Morris has more details from the scathing report.
Ontario's ombudsman describes a correctional system in need of overhaul, and fast.
The cauldron starts heating up and the pressures build.
It's a system where he says conditions have been worsening, with complaints up 55% from last year. Staff is working short-handed. Solitary confinement and lockdowns are common. And inmates are overcrowded, with some facilities at 150% capacity.
We're finding people housed in broom closets and former pantries and stuff. So the system has deteriorated. It's in crisis.
The government has promised to expand existing jails and build new ones.
They can build more jails, but if you can't get a case through trial, you'll be building jails upon jails, and those are still people who are legally presumed innocent.
That's most of the people in lockup, people who haven't been convicted of anything, even for those who have been found guilty. The ombudsman says the system is falling short of its goal of rehabilitation.
It's in our interest for those people not to come out more broken than when they went in.
This criminal defense lawyer thinks a lack of political will may be the problem.
It may be that there's a perception that the public doesn't like the idea that money is being spent on people who are in custody.
A spokesperson for the Ministry of the Solicitor General says they expect correctional staff to uphold standards. They'll review the ombudsman's report, but they're also touting record investments in the sector. Still, we know sometimes inhumane conditions behind bars can have spillover effects.
We have sentences being reduced or charges being stayed because of the breaches of fundamental rights within those correctional facilities, that's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's a scenario that played out at Maplehurst Correctional Complex in Milton in December 2023. It came after a guard was assaulted. Video obtained by the Toronto Star and shared with CTV News shows inmates being stripped down to their boxers, their wrists held back with zip ties. The ordeal lasted 2 days.
If anyone's done anything wrong, there's a process. They'll be held accountable.
The sentences of some of those inmates have been reduced because of what they endured. The Ombudsman has launched a separate investigation into what happened at Maplehurst.
We hope that it's been an eye-opener, but we'll have to see whether or not it's going to have the kind of systemic impacts that we would like to see happen here.
There's no timeline right now for the Ombudsman to complete his investigation into what happened at Maplehurst. He only launched it a few weeks ago, so we may be waiting a few months. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The Prime Minister is on his way back to Ottawa from the Netherlands after making a commitment to boost Canada's contribution to NATO. Mark Carney has agreed that Canada will almost double military defense spending, something that put a big smile on Donald Trump's face, the driving force behind this big development. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has more.
A highly anticipated historic sit-down for the NATO alliance started today with a clear message from Secretary General Mark Rutte.
For too long, one ally, the United States, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump, dear Donald, you made this change possible.
That has been Donald Trump's pitch as he drove the charge to increase the alliance's defense spending pledge.
NATO is going to become very strong with us.
Alliance members making official today what was expected, a new baseline spending target of 5% of GDP to be reached by 2035.
This is a significant commitment in response to significant threats to our security.
The fact that we are doing this today, the fact that we're united, the fact that the United States is fully behind this, the fact that we're working together is going to reduce the threat environment 10 years from now.
3.5% will have to go to core defense spending, with a requirement to spend another 1.5% on defense-related infrastructure investments. Carney says meeting the 5% commitment would mean earmarking $150 billion a year for defense.
So yes, we'll find gaps. We'll be transparent about that. We'll make up those gaps. So the overall context of the net increase in defense spending is much less than the headline from 2 to 5.
But key to today's new pledge from the alliance, a plan to review progress in 2029, ensuring it still meets the needs of the global security landscape.
Senior government officials tell us they see an opportunity then to address whether the breakdown of 3.5 and 1.5 could be balanced differently, a change they believe could be better for Canada. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, The Hague.
Now to a homecoming for two Ontario hockey players after they were stranded in Israel when the conflict with Iran broke out. Now sharing their account of fleeing into bomb shelters and missiles as missiles rained down. CTV's Mike Walker reports.
Canadian hockey player Timothy Payne returning to Toronto and reunited with family after he found himself caught in the middle of the Israel-Iran war.
Feeling very relieved. It's nice to be back on home soil.
The 29-year-old and his teammate Brandon Lucchese, who is from Woodbridge, touched down at Pearson Airport this morning on a flight from Jordan after a 21-hour journey.
It's definitely a life-changing experience.
They both play in the Israel Elite Hockey League and arrived in Tel Aviv 1 week before the war started. Then, as sirens started to blare, they found themselves running for safety in bomb shelters.
It was unexpected, it was scary. It was a lot. I thought we were going to be stuck there.
Iranian missiles struck a neighborhood not far from where they lived.
Destroyed a bunch of buildings, a bunch of storefronts were destroyed. So we're probably 300 meters away in our house, all windows blown out, drywall.
A huge sense of relief today for Payne's family after attempts to return home seemed almost impossible.
Beyond thrilled that he's finally made it back safely after enduring this brutality that's been going on over there.
Airspace in Israel had been closed. Both the players and Payne's family tried the Canadian embassy in Tel Aviv, but they say it was of no help.
Can't really do anything right now. Kind of find your own way and take your own risk.
You send your kids off to go and experience something like this, and then that happens, and they just basically say, yeah, you're on your own. It's very disappointing.
They ended up leaving Tel Aviv for Jerusalem and then took a bus to Jordan, where a group had arranged for a flight home.
Feel safe, happy.
Global Affairs Canada says they have helped more than 600 Canadians leave the region, while many others, including Payne and Lucchese, have left on their own. Payne and Lucchese are among 15 Canadians who play in the Israel Elite Hockey League. They tell us some other players are making arrangements to return home, while others are choosing to stay put following news of the ceasefire. Mike Walker, CTV News.
Public Health issuing a notice today after dozens of people have fallen ill after eating salami. Still to come on CTV News, the latest on a recall after a possible salmonella contamination.
This is your CTV Kitchener, our community calendar. On July 1st, you can celebrate Canada Day in downtown Kitchener. It's a full day of free fun and celebration, including live music and dazzling fireworks. We'll see you next time on Our Community.
Rogers says a network outage that impacted wireless customers across the country has been resolved. Starting at around 11 a.m., social media reported users having trouble accessing their mobile phone lines and mobile internet. Third-party website downdetector.ca recorded more than 8,000 reported issues with Rogers. Subsidiary Fido also experiencing an outage. By early afternoon, the company said services were fully restored. 72 people have now fallen ill after eating salami that was recalled due to a possible salmonella contamination. The Public Health Agency of Canada released an updated notice today on the outbreak of salmonella infections linked to several types of Ria brand Genoa salami. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency recalled the products in Ontario, Alberta, and Manitoba on June 10th. Of those infected, 57 were in Alberta, 14 in Ontario, and 1 in Manitoba. 7 people have been hospitalized since the recall was issued. An Ottawa barbecue business thought they did everything right until a customer disputed a sale and got their money back. Despite the evidence, the credit card company sided with the buyer. Small businesses warn chargeback fraud is on the rise. It's called friendly fraud when buyers knowingly or mistakenly refute legitimate charges. CTV's Caitlin Wilson explains.
I'm standing in front of the exact barbecue that this customer ordered.
And it started with a routine order, a high-end barbecue delivered to a customer in Gatineau. But when the customer claimed he never received his order from Capital Barbecue's sister store in Hamilton, that's when things took a turn.
The customer called our delivery company to say that they were stepping out to pick up their daughter and asked if the barbecue could be left in the backyard, at the back gate of the home.
Owner Chuck Shabshove had the receipt, proof of delivery, even a registered warranty showing the customer's name and serial number. Still, the customer claimed he never got the barbecue.
We have definite proof that he got the product, the serial number matches the invoice, and he denies that he got it, and the credit card company sided with him.
In the end, the credit card company refunded the customer, and Chuck, he lost the grill and around $3,000.
Our margins on barbecues aren't great, so we have to sell probably 3 to 4 barbecues just to recoup the loss that we had on a fraudulent transaction.
It's called a chargeback, a consumer protection tool that allows customers to dispute charges they believe are fraudulent. But when false claims happen, it's often the business that gets burned, winning only 20 to 30% of chargeback disputes.
The fact that this is happening more and more often should be sending alarm bells to the credit card industry and to government that something needs to change.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says 2/3 of small businesses experienced fraud in the past 3 years, with many pointing to chargebacks as a growing concern. And for Chuck, it's not just money he's losing.
If a merchant has too many chargebacks, their rates will go up, and you're flagged as a high-risk merchant. It's ridiculous.
All right, time now to recap our top stories. Joining us tonight is Alexandra Hollick. Alexandra, first we have a recap on the Elora Quarry closing after a fatal incident.
That's right, Ashley. A 24-year-old man is dead after drowning while swimming in the quarry yesterday. Ontario Provincial Police say it happened around 6:30 Tuesday evening. The man was pulled from the water and taken to hospital where he was pronounced deceased. While the Grand River Conservation Authority wouldn't comment on what happened, they did say river flows can change quickly and without warning. Police say they are investigating the circumstances around the man's death and urge people to be extra cautious when swimming in natural bodies of water. Costs to reconstruct the West Montrose Kissing Bridge are proving to be more than Waterloo Region budgeted for. The region's 2025 budget set aside $6 million and change to reconstruct the covered bridge, but a contractor estimates it'll be roughly $4 million more, and that would bring the total cost to just over $10 million. The bridge was built in 1881 and holds heritage significance. Council is meeting now and is expected to vote on the project tonight.
Now, our online news team has the lineup of local summer activities, community events, and festivals. And today, the Brantford Music Festival released its list of performers.
That's right, Ashley. The Call Home Music Festival will feature artists including Walk Off the Earth, Chaos, The Glorious Sons, and even Kitchener's very own J.J. Wild. The two-day event kicks off at Lions Park July 18th. Our digital team rounded up the full list of performers, and you can find out more by checking out the story on our website, CTV News Kitchener.ca, or through the CTV News app. Ashley?
Gotta love summer events happening. All right, thank you, Alexandra. Well, the Kitchener Odd is being transformed tonight. Crews are busy setting up the arena for a Call of Duty League championship. It's the first time the tournament is being held in Canada, and organizers expect big crowds wanting to see the world's best professional esports teams in action. CTV's Colton Weens has the details.
Less than 24 hours before the first teams drop in, the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium is nearly set for the Call of Duty League Championships weekend.
This is the biggest event we've ever had. We've held 4 or 5 events now in Toronto, always majors. This being the championship, we expected a bigger audience and we got it.
It's the first time the 4-day esports tournament has come to Canada, featuring 12 teams of the best professional players in the world competing for a prize pool of $2 million US.
I'm very excited to get it going. This is like the tournament everyone's trying to play for, the one we all look forward to the end of the year. So excited to get in there and hopefully cement my legacy.
Unlike a concert, the stage sits in the middle of the arena, allowing for additional fans to fill the floor, and there's major technology upgrades to make sure the matches run smoothly.
For being a historic venue like this, it's pretty modern. It's up to date. We're having great access. The region has been tremendous.
Organizers explored other venues, but say the Odd fit the bill for capacity, and the region of Waterloo's passion for showcasing esports is the perfect fit.
I feel like every year that I've been a part of it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and when I first joined the league, there wasn't very many Canadian fans. And then over the years, it's gradually just got more and more intense to the point now where we're like selling out venues with just pure Canadian fans.
While floor tickets are now sold out, there are still some bowl seats available, and organizers are expecting around 15,000 people to pass through the Odd over the 4 days. And despite the Odd's first run at a major esport event, Duffy says this could be a sign of what's to come.
Call of Duty's our biggest here in North America, but we also have a League of Legends team, a Valorant team, EAFC, and beyond. I can see us going back to Kitchener many times.
The tournament kicks off Thursday afternoon with the grand finals set for Sunday. Colton Weens, CTV News, Kitchener.
Creating a win-win situation. Still to come on CTV News, how Ingrid the Gaff will help raise thousands of dollars to help local kids. There were some familiar faces at the Order of Canada investiture in Ottawa today. Pinball and Diane Clemens were among the honorees. CTV's Andrea Case reports.
With all the pomp and circumstance befitting the occasion, 31 people were awarded the Order of Canada at Rideau Hall by Governor-General Mary Simon.
The Order of Canada was created in our centennial year, 1967. to thank these trailblazers for their dedication to community and for their service to Canada as a whole.
In addition, 29 others received the Meritorious Service Medal for their work in a specialized field, advocacy, healthcare, research, and humanitarian efforts, which brings us to a basketball superfan.
Navdeep Singh Bhatia.
Nav Bhatia is well known for his love of the game, but it is his work off the sidelines which garnered this attention.
Toronto Raptors superfan Nav Bhatia created the Nav Bhatia Superfan Foundation to build basketball courts and host camps for kids from low-income communities. The foundation also donates sports equipment to schools in Toronto and has raised tens of thousands of dollars for World Vision Canada's Daughter of India project. Your Excellency, superfan Mr. Bhatia.
Also recognized today,
Diane Clemens and Michael Pinball Clemens are the driving force behind the Pinball Clemens Foundation, which empowers youth through education. The organization provides financial assistance to students in need and mentoring programs to help them in transition into the workforce.
Anyone can nominate someone for the Order of Canada. There is no deadline for submissions. The Order recognizes outstanding achievement, dedication to the community, and service to the nation in all sectors of society. Andrea Case, CTV News.
All right, let's check in with the national news team now for a look at what's coming up later tonight.
Tonight, fleeing the deadly conflict in the Middle East.
I thought we were going to be stuck there. Glad to be back home. Yeah, nothing like home right now.
Grateful travelers back on Canadian soil while others face frustration. Later on CTV National News.
A pretty nice summer night out there. We'll take a look at how your morning is looking and wake up weather coming up. Well, plenty of entertainment for your Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Join us for E-Talk before The Big Bang Theory. Then at 8, it's Master Chef. And then Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service. Then at 10, it's Battle of the Generations.
Hi there, I'm Angie Hill.
And I'm Sarge from Bounce Mornings with Angie and Sarge.
Bounce 99.5 and CTV Kitchener have joined forces to send you to see Coldplay at Rogers Stadium.
Ah, yes, the Music of the Spheres Tour, which is coming up July 7th.
Today's keyword is
paradise. Enter it now at ctvkitchener.ca for your chance to win.
All right, Alexandra is back with a look at what our team is following later tonight.
Ashley will be keeping an eye on the NBA draft, where 2 Ontario prospects are hoping to join the growing group of Canadian talent in the league. Kitchener's Will Riley and Ryan Nemmard of Aurora are looking to be selected this year, with Riley coming off one NCAA season with Illinois. TSN projects he'll be a first-round prospect, and you can catch all the action on day 1 of the NBA draft tonight at 8 p.m. on TSN. Ashley?
Thank you, Alexandra. Very exciting for a couple of local guys. Well, good luck to you both. And, you know, I'm sure they'll be keeping an eye on their phones, but also
for sure.
the weather, because who doesn't want to celebrate after they get hopefully drafted.
And tonight wouldn't be a bad night to maybe go for a nice stroll or hit up a patio, maybe to celebrate. But if you're going to do a patio night, you might want to do it today instead of tomorrow, potentially even Friday, because look, as soon as we start to get into the morning hours, so for your wake-up weather, tomorrow by 6 a.m., cloudy showers are expected, 19 degrees, then we're going to go up 1 degree by 10 a.m., so a little bit of active weather might start to roll in, and yeah, you want to keep that umbrella handy, the rain jacket, the rain boots. I don't even know where any of mine are. I'm going to have to dig them out of a closet somewhere because yeah, I feel like even though we try to be prepared, we're always surprised with maybe how much rain we could or could not see.
Absolutely. And I mean, and it will still be warm too. So
yes.
Wet but warm.
Wet but warm. It's, you know, Ontario summers.
That's not bad at all. All right. Well, finally for us tonight, it started with a radio contest and a pretty good move.
22-year-old Wyatt Westman Frieders of Milverton won a calf on World Milk Day. What he did next had the entire farming community rallying behind him. CTV's Hannah Schmidt with that story now.
It all began on World Milk Day when Wyatt Westman Frieders won a live calf through a local radio contest. But instead of keeping her, he had a bigger idea.
And I said, what are you going to do with this calf, bud? He said, Dad, I'd like to sell this calf and use that money to help some other programs. And we talked about some different ones. Autism, of course, is one that's near and dear to Wyatt and our family, so it came to the top of the list.
Giving back is nothing new for Wyatt. The 22-year-old from Milverton was born with a rare genetic disorder, but that certainly hasn't stopped him from enjoying the things he loves and paying it forward.
Through COVID, we organized a cow show at our home and we sold some calves for 4-H kids. We made it clear that that money was going to Autism Ontario as well. It's what he wanted to do with those proceeds. And that steer brought over $20,000 that we were able to give to charities. So Wyatt's always been one that he likes to give back to a lot of the programs that have helped him.
This time, Wyatt will be putting the calf named Ingrid up for auction, all with the hopes of raising money for autism and special needs awareness. His inspiration, his own sister.
Willow has autism.
It's very heartwarming to see the community come together for a cause like this.
Ingrid has been living at Mapleview Farm since June 1st, and this Thursday, she'll take center stage.
We're hoping to raise as much money as we can, but we have a goal of $25,000.
From mooing on the radio.
Moo.
Look at the camera.
Moo.
To rallying local farmers, Wyatt's kindness has stirred up an auction like no other.
It's just cool to see from one little idea sitting in our office of going, what if the ranch would broadcast live on World Milk Day, to now selling a calf for hopefully over $25,000.
For Wyatt and his family, one thing's clear. This isn't just about a calf. It's about what happens when one small town and a young man's big idea come together for something utterly unforgettable.
I think there'll be a lot of excitement. There's going to be a lot of people come there to support Wyatt. That's the beauty of an auction. We have no idea what might happen.
Hannah Schmidt, CTV News, Listowel.
Wow, Hannah, thank you for bringing that. And Wyatt, talk about not only a fantastic community member, but what a great big brother.
I know,
To do that for his sister, beautiful story.
Such a great story. Really love kind of that local connection, but also just looking to give back like that. It's really tugs on the heartstring. And what did we say in the banner? A cute move?
A cute move. It's a very moving story indeed. And I know the community is going to rally and get that $25,000 for them.
Hopefully we can get an update on that one.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Absolutely. Well, that is our time. Thank you all for watching. We'll of course have more news coming up at 11:30 with Alexandra. Don't forget to check your CTV News app for news anytime. Bye for now.
Take care.